Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We shared a video yesterday about Katie Thurston on the Almost Famous podcast, and now we have Katie Thurston talking more so about her experience on Bachelor in Paradise. As we know, she hits the sand in maybe a week or two. I don't really know when her episode comes out, but she sees Blake for the first time in 2 years. I'll let you watch her facial expression as she talks about reuniting with a former lover. Do me a solid, follow me on Instagram at DNeals, and I'm I'm gonna be on Patreon every single morning, patreon.com/Dave Neal. If you enjoy my content and what we do over here and want to donate to the channel, go to patreon.com/Dave Neal. Every afternoon, Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. And don't forget, double check and see if you're subscribed. You know, half of our audience is not subscribed to the channel. It is detrimental to the channel that you subscribe, and it helps us grow further and further. Okay, let's get into it. Here's the teaser trailer of Katie Thurston on Almost Famous, and then I'll share a longer clip of what she had to say.
When I walk down, obviously the first person I look for is Blake, and he's looking at me like he saw a ghost.
Who was the hottest when you got down there?
Well, technically, he did see a ghost. You ghosted on your fiance. I'm kidding. They broke up.
I'll be so honest. There was this comfort in seeing Blake again. It definitely stirred up some things I didn't know were still there.
Not to mention, Blake looks really good. Blake's throwing fastballs. He's the hottest he's ever been. He's got legs and quads and glutes and pecs and traps and tries and buys. It's like, oh my gosh, right? Blake's got it going on. He's a celebrity on the beach. All right, let's go to the full conversation at the 14-minute mark and have a listen to Katie describing her time on Bachelor in Paradise, which we're going to watch play out very shortly.
So,
oh my goodness, this is big.
Wow, that's really big. For some reason, seeing you walk down those steps in Paradise, I never even contemplated you being a contestant, which you actually totally can be. It just was ruled out in my head that you would ever go down as a contestant. Okay, wow, this is good and this is juicy. Now you haven't talked to Blake for 2 years, he says, as you walk down the stairs. You gotta tease us with how your first interaction was.
Well, okay, I was told when I was going to see everybody, everyone was going to be very excited and get up and hug me. And so I went in with this mentality of I'm about to be so welcomed. When I walked down, obviously the first person I look for is Blake, and he's looking at me like he saw a ghost. And it feels like 5 minutes of nobody saying anything. No one's getting up. I feel so uncomfortable. I will do open mic over and over again before I ever have to experience entering the beach that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you.
Were you nervous though? I mean, were you nervous to see Blake again?
You know, so much time had passed. I was indifferent. Blake is very mature, and despite how things happened, in the aftermath, overall, we were two happy people in love at one point. And so I was very optimistic that, regardless of his situation status on Paradise, that the conversation was going to be a positive one and much needed, as we both navigate whatever happens next in our lives.
Yeah.
All right, so she doesn't say too much, but of course it's a good teaser for what is to come. And now let's go to the 1740 mark, where she continues to talk about former contestants she might have. She obviously dated John Hersey, but are there any other contestants she might have dated from her season?
So much better than my past experiences. And so I'm really glad to just leave on a positive note with, both different franchises, my mental health, coming off of it, and just feeling just overall very good about my experiences.
So if you are dating in Paradise, who was on your list that you wanted to see down there?
That was the hard part because I haven't actually watched
that
the
was
show.
A hard part, so she had to do it.
Look, you can do all you want, Ashley. But I haven't kept up with the show. And so when I showed up, there was a lot of faces. I had no idea who they were. I didn't know, were they a villain? Are they a good guy? Are they just a night one guy? I had no idea who anybody was, really.
Who was the hottest when you got down there?
Blake.
I'll be so honest. There was this comfort in seeing Blake again. It definitely stirred up some things I didn't know were still there.
And he's just looking good. Everybody's talking about Blake 2.0 He's doing all right for himself.
2.0.
It's that breakup glow up that everybody goes through, and he doesn't get it. So I was like, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Katie's way of saying nice to see you is let's go hang out by the Palapa and play Find the F-Boy.
So, okay, we had Wells on a few weeks ago, and as we close out here with you, obviously F-Boy Island is coming up. Everybody should tune in.
By the way, I got invited to the F-Boy Island premiere party on Monday, so I'll for sure be talking to you guys about that experience.
A lot of intrigue, and it's a very fun show to watch. I don't think the name fully represents the show. I think there's a lot of really good moments too behind that we get to watch on television as well. But we had Wells on a few weeks ago, and he had mentioned that there's a unique dynamic when a former lead comes onto the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you have multiple different...
A former lead coming onto the beach, it's like when you graduate high school and then you go back to a football game the next year. You're like, am I still cool or am I a loser? What am I?
Ways of going about it. One, some of the leads go down and they only care about everybody else because they don't feel like they need to care about themselves or really pursue relationships themselves. Some leads come down and they kind of have this ego, give or take, a little bit, to say, hey, I was a lead and I'm coming back to paradise. And
he's saying this, but there's only been several leads that have come down. Becca Kufrin and Rachel Recchia. Nick Viall wasn't a lead yet, right? Has there been any other leads that have come down as players in the game? So who's he talking about? Is he talking about Becca or Rachel?
You're going to want me because, at one point I was it. How would you best describe kind of your feelings leading up to the beach?
I mean, I definitely did not want a target on my back. So I wanted to make sure I was humble in my experience. Also, let's not forget 2 guys quit my season. So I don't really have that confidence as the Bachelorette. I'm just Katie coming to the beach. And if you like me, great. If you don't, well, that's your loss. But no, I definitely want to stay humble and just open and not have this entitlement when I was there.
Is that the same mentality you took on F-Boy Island?
Even more so on F-Boy Island because it's a shared lead spot with 2 other women. And I was very nervous that they would feel some kind of way. Fun fact, they had no idea who I was. So we didn't even have to deal with that.
Good.
And so we really got to navigate our experience, as 3 equal women dating these guys. And kind of every night we kind of go through the list and be like, mix around cards. Like, this has to be an F-boy. This has to be a nice guy. And that was kind of our bonding moment every night after filming.
When you go down to Paradise, I don't know that there's anybody from your season besides Blake, but when you look back on your season, you did date John after the fact. Is there anybody else that you were like, oh, I could revisit and date that person?
Again, Ashley Iaconetti with amazing questions. She might have the best questions of any Bachelor alumni. I truly mean this.
I'm thinking because Michael Alio is single, your take on all that?
I will say there definitely was a time where Michael was on my mind, but more fresh in my experiences and reflecting and watching back and just all of that stuff. With all the time that has passed, I do feel like I don't know him as who he is today. A lot of people go on the show and come out a little different. A lot of people go on the show and it's a heightened version of themselves, but then you get to kind of see them on social media and you're like, oh, that's a little different,
Whoa. Katie says, I don't like the version he is now. Now I'm paraphrasing and putting words in her mouth here, but very interesting. Is Michael turning Katie Thurston off?
So there definitely was a time where Michael was on my mind.
Michael's on my mind. By the way, I am the epitome of the younger sibling, although I'm older, but the younger sibling trying to ruffle feathers here between Katie and Michael. Ooh, Katie doesn't like Michael anymore.
But I can say pretty confidently that would never be experienced again.
Wow, rough month for Michael, huh? He just got dumped and you know what I mean? What's going on there? All right, well, we're going to have to see how it all plays out here, but we're just crushing things. We're not taking any prisoners. Boy, we tried to get Blake to be on Driving with Dave, but the producers haven't responded yet, which is so annoying. It's have some respect for Blake. You know what I mean? He's a good guy. He's been a good member of Bachelor Nation. He's done all the things they've asked him to do. He's had his heart broken. He's let him poke fun at him. And it's like the guy's asking to do Driving with Dave. Do you know how good of a conversation Blake and I would have? If I can get Blake to do Driving with Dave, there's a place in Sylmar, Sylmar Sloth. Here's my plan if I get to do Driving with Dave. There's this place called the Wildlife Center in Sylmar, which is in Los Angeles. They actually have a sloth that you can hang out with. So my idea was that Blake and I just hang out with this sloth and I interview him. Would that not be the coolest episode of Driving with Dave? Maybe maybe we could do the porcupine dining time. Maybe him and I could just dine with a porcupine. What else do they have? They got a giraffe. I don't know. You know, Blake's into animals. Maybe an armadillo. What do you guys say? That'd be fun. That'd be adorable. Well, either way, shoot him a DM and let's get on this. We need to get this approved because, of course, he's back on Bachelor in Paradise, which means he's under contract. But boy, we'd love to have him. All right. Well, good to see and good to hear that Katie's mental health is better from doing the different shows this year. My guess is it's due to the fact that she has a little more equity and control over her narrative versus being on The Bachelor, which is more about tearing you down. Maybe F-Boy Island tears her back up. There's no pun intended there. We hope to see how it all goes down. Very excited to go to the premiere, and I'll report back afterwards. We'll be back with more content right after this.